Hi, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. I meditated before, and some information was coming in before I decided to do this one today. So bear with me, I'm a little bit everywhere. The intentions for this video is to bring awareness to self-love and ways that you can do that through setting boundaries. Sometimes what happens, I believe, is that we get laxed and we forget to hold ourselves fully accountable and be in the present moment. We get distracted, or we learn to neglect things that need our attention more than others. And sometimes the backlash to doing that is we end up hurting ourselves. So I think a nice way to start doing some self-reflection is setting boundaries. So a few tips for setting boundaries would be knowing your limits within, taking time within yourself and kind of reflecting on, what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. There's always pros and cons to everything. Know your values and how, what are your values and how do they make you feel? Sometimes it's probably in your best interest to be around people who support your values and your beliefs. I think groups are stronger in numbers sometimes when everyone is on the same common ground. Another one I have on my list is listening to your emotions. How do they feel when a situation occurs and you feel like maybe someone has offended you or disrespected you, or anything that brings any discomfort to you whatsoever? Step back, analyze it, and see a perspective of it and how to necessarily avoid the situation again. You kind of learn from it. Sometimes we go into things blindly and we don't realize it until after, and you're like, oh my gut, I should have listened to my gut, right? Having self-respect. Just going through the mindset of being at a point where you want to set boundaries and protect yourself from people hurting your feelings or disrespecting you is respect in itself. It's courage, it's honorable, it's loving to yourself, and that's sometimes the biggest gift, is just respecting yourself and willing to make a change. Having respect for others. So having the same understandings and the values that you have for yourself, respecting that others have free will and have their choices. And to be assertive. That's another tip I think is important. And this is a journey in itself. It's a process. You learn as you go. Sometimes you may have to take a softer approach to setting boundaries. Definitely do it from your heart in a loving and a compassionate way. You can walk away from a situation and do sometimes more damage than good. So you definitely want to go within, just center in to your heart center and ask yourself, am I making the right decisions? Am I doing this for what reason? Is it going to improve my health? Is it going to improve their health? Or whatever the situation may be. So those are just a few tips that I think that are important in regards to setting boundaries. And know that nothing is necessarily set in stone, but you have to be fairly consistent, or you're going to be someone's doormat. So we want to avoid that. Establishing boundaries. Well, when I think of establishing a boundary, sometimes you have to speak that out. You can't expect other people to read your mind. So you have to be able to speak your truth, and be assertive in that aspect as well. People will test your boundaries, and be prepared. And how are you going to handle that situation when it occurs? Emotionally, are you going to accept it, or are you going to expect it and not overreact? Because that's what happens sometimes, is something minute or very little, or and you go just ape, you go nutty, and then you look at yourself later that day, or you think about how the whole situation goes down, and you're like, oh man, I overreacted. Oops. And we beat ourselves up that way. But if you just watch yourself and your behaviors from a no judgment kind of point of view, just kind of observe, you can check your own behavior and responses beforehand. One thing that I've learned kind of the hard way is that when you start to have that self-awareness of what situations may occur, and they don't feel good, so you kind of start to avoid it. You realize that's not worth me putting my 2 cents in, or my energy into this situation, so you take yourself out. Sometimes it offends the other people. Why? Because they can't take advantage of you any longer, because you've made a boundary, you've set it in stone, and you're assertive with it. So keep that in mind. It's going to be rocky, it's going to be hard, but you got to stick to your guns, and you're going to see changes. It's going to be hard, but you'll see it. It takes a lot of courage, so honor that. Thank yourself for even taking the time to listen and be present. It's so easy today to brush stuff under the rug, and we almost get into a mindset or a belief of compliance. And I truly believe we're not meant to be followers, we're meant to be leaders, and it starts with yourself. So at this time, I am going to set the intention to activate your heart centers in a way where you feel more open and aware of your surroundings and what feels good, what doesn't feel good for you, and you start to make the conscious effort to let go of things that no longer serve you, and you go towards the direction of the things that do. So at this time, just find somewhere nice and cozy to sit. Take a few deep breaths. Ground yourself in. Surround yourself with the beautiful green emerald ray. So as you're grounded in and this ray is around you, I want you to take a minute and think about something that brings you joy, something that makes you feel loved. And I want you to hone in on it. I want you to feel those emotions. And I want you to sit in it and think about your heart actually growing. So every time it pumps, it grows a little bit bigger. So while you're in this, I don't want you to feel like it's going to explode. Not that extreme. Just an awareness of it opening channels that were closed off or protected. Open those channels up. And the reason why we do this is we can experience more joy, passion, creativity in this awareness of love. And the love is in the heart. Genuinely in your heart. So as we're sitting in this meditative state of gratitude for remembering such events of possibly love or passion or joy, peace, start to notice other sensations in the part of the body. Any discomforts, any pains. I want you to take your awareness to those spots and consider a more open perspective of why is this here? Why do I feel this? Did you work too hard outside? Did you overdo it? So whatever comes to mind, observe the situation. How could you have improved that situation? Could it have gone more smoothly? Did you give it your best? Is there anything at all you would have changed about that situation? Reminding that our heart is still open, so we're going to be honest with ourselves when our heart is open. We're a little fragile, keep that in mind as well. So, take it in a sensitive manner. But you want to make peace with it. So we're going to ask the emerald green ray to come in and shield all those aches and pains and discomforts and sorrows and disappointments. Any of those things. Anything that's not for your highest good. We're going to ask that those rays come in, work around it, and settle it, and calm it. So at this time, as the emerald ray is covering the outside of the body, I ask that you allow the rays to flow through as well. Focus on the heart center. So this energy with the mindset of activating the heart. Awareness of love. So as I'm sitting here in a beautiful days, we're going to start to come back to our bodies. Fill in for appreciation and gratitude for being present and taking the time to think about yourself and go within. Be kind to yourself, love yourself, and love others, guys. Our realities are what we create it to be. You have a choice. Many blessings to all.